Welcome to the Balls Not Court Podcast. Cortez Paulus here, alongside Mr. Kevin Carter. How you doing, buddy?
Good. Cold.
Yeah, we're having a cold front in here in Jacksonville, Florida.
It's a cold spell. I'm sorry for all you people up north.
They are pretty much trapped in the snow, the blizzard, and all that fun stuff. So, for the most part, they all went back to work in school today. So
they're saying it's cold and it's in the 60s. It's not even. It didn't even hit the 60s today. So shut up.
So I did talk to all my buddies up there, and they're doing just fine. They just like you do with a snow. You just have to manage. They get car out the snow and go about your business. You still got to make paychecks, got to make money. So
keep your ass inside until it goes away.
Hey,
yeah. Keep your ass inside until it goes away. They don't need
work that way.
They don't need no snow diffs.
Hey, well, I mean, yeah, until it goes away, of course.
Exactly.
But yeah, for the most part, I know.
I'm not saying you don't go to work when it's 4 feet of snow coming down.
Oh no!
Of course, that's what I said. Just stay in the house until it goes away.
Oh, yeah,
it's like a hurricane here.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever the hurricane goes away, just get out and go do whatever.
Do what you got to do.
Exactly.
So, yeah, for the most part, they're up and running. They going back to work. So the most part, most of them are, at least most of my people that I know up there are fine.
Imagine if they would have left their balls outside, how flat they would be.
Well, I'm thankful that I'm sure the New England Patriots and their team and fans and family are pretty glad that they're in Arizona.
They're all in Arizona right now.
Enjoying this right now.
It's nice there, too. It's nice.
Yeah.
I think somebody said it was 65 today and sunny out there. I'm like, dang.
No wonder Tom Brady got a cold. He used to the cold weather, and they come in his
He's taking garlic. He's taking garlic to help.
Or maybe he's sucking air out of the balls. I'm
Good
just kidding.
boy.
Just kidding. All right, let's go ahead. All right, we're going to go ahead and hop into some Super Bowl talk.
No time,
So, this is the Balls Not Court. We're going to go ahead and cover.
This is our Super Bowl preview.
Where this is actually our first. We actually created the show after the Super Bowl.
Yes, that's done.
And it was good timing because I had to grieve a little bit. So, but Kevin sure did remind me of.
You had to
grieve.
Yeah, our first one. I remember.
Yeah, and I try to brush on the rug, but Kevin, he's still gonna bring it up like, hey, what happened to your team? But
anyways, last year's Super Bowl.
It's last year. Let's talk about this year because these two teams rightfully deserve to be there: the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks. And we're going to go ahead and cover their defense side of the ball first. And
it sounds like somebody predicted this.
So, as you see, Nostradamus over here to my right.
Not surprised. Not surprised at all.
So, he's not surprised.
Skip Bayless copied me.
So, so Kevin is feeling pretty good about his pick right now. And we're going to dissect into the defense side of the ball for both of these teams. As far as Seattle, we already know about their defense. Pretty dominant.
Number one.
Yeah, just first in total yards, 4,274 yards with an average of 267 point yards per game that they allow.
Mm-hmm.
First in points allowed at 15.9, pretty incredible. First in passing yards allowed, 185.6 yards per game. And third in rushing yards allowed, 81.5.
81 yards.
Which is still pretty good.
Yeah, 81 yards is really good.
Fifth in opposing passer rating at 80.4, 13 interceptions. They only allow 17 touchdowns.
11 to tight ends.
Yeah, 11. And there you go, 11 to tight ends. And 37 sacks. So that's
not really high in the sack total, but they're not really. They're not a sack team per se on defense. They're more of a pressure team on defense, allowing their best part of their defense, which is their secondary, to be able to do their things. Most of their sacks are almost coverage type sacks because their secondary is so good.
So, and that's Kevin's thoughts on Seattle's defense as well. So, you said their sacks are down a little bit this year, but as far as...
Well, their sacks are about the same every year. If you look at their sacks, they're always about the same statistically every year. They lost a couple of guys this year on that defensive line, but they have so many. They had such a influx of defensive linemen that to leave, but you still have all these good players that have come in and still play on the line. As long as you have your main ones, you're good to go. They use what they call a big defensive end on running plays, where they use a 330-pound guy as a defensive end on running plays. I was like, yeah, that's big defensive end. But they do that, and then they run in their speed rushers towards the end of the thing. So you don't really got one dominant guy that does all the sacking and everything like that. But they create havoc, which in turn makes their secondary so much better.
Gotcha. All right, on the flip side, New England defense, they're about average. I mean, we can get. I mean,
towards the end of the year, though, they've been great there towards the end of the year. It seems like everything started clicking there for a minute.
Now, to give you some of their numbers, they're 13 in total yards with 5,506 with a 344 average per game. Mm-hmm. They're 8th in points allowed at 19.6, which is still pretty decent because they're 4 points away from Seattle. They're 17 in passing yards allowed with 239.8 yards per game. 9th in rushing with 104.3 yards per game. They're 10th in pass rating at 84, which is still pretty solid.
Yeah.
That, they don't let that quarter tear you up. 16 interceptions, and they allowed 24 touchdowns, 20 sacks. What are your thoughts on New England defense?
They, like I said, towards the end of the year, they've been progressing along. Their defense is, their defensive numbers are kind of skewed because they play different opponents than Seattle does. Seattle kind of got it easy where Arizona was hurt. Some of their guys were hurt some of the time. They played San Francisco, who was in an influx. New England had to play some of these more difficult teams that like to air the ball out, kind of like Miami done to them early in the season, and some of the other teams they played Denver and all.
Packers.
So the Packers as well. But they've come along now that they figured out how to use Revis and where they use him at and what they've learned to take away. And then towards the end of the year, you started to see Belichick's game plan kind of come into tuition where they're going to take away your best guy they're going to take away your second best guy with Revis, and then they're going to cover whoever else with everybody else. And Browner's been the big pickup for those guys.
Yeah,
coming over from Seattle, he's been a real big pickup for those guys. And McCourty's been real good at the safety position.
Yes. If you were Seattle's offense, where would you exploit New England's defense?
I run. You can't right now. You cannot change what you do best. What you do best is you run the football. New England's defense, their best part of their defense is much like Seattle's is their secondary. They went and used a lot of money in their secondary. Sure, they still got Vince Wilfork, but he's getting on up in age and little injury bugs kind of biting. But you have to go with what got you there. You got to run the ball.
Yeah, I'm looking at that with you. I agree. You got to make sure you pound the rock because that is Seattle's strong suit as well.
Yeah.
And you got the threat with Wilson and Marshawn Lynch to attack that defense. So if you get into their midsection and everything like that, you can put more pressure on them as far as trying to change their packages.
Their real big thing is going to be getting on the corner on the New England defense. If they can get on the corner and they can get some of those rushes on the outside, like his Russell zone read, it's going to be a long day for New England.
Gotcha.
Well, we'll talk about that when we talk about
it. Well, same question for in regards to New England. If you was New England offense, I mean, I know that's a hard question because they're pretty dominant, but if you was to try to game plan for a certain area that you would try to attack in Seattle.
Tight end. You want to try to attack the middle of the field with Gronk. Gronk is your biggest mismatch out of everybody on that field. I don't even know if Wagner can guard him, but he's your biggest mismatch. And what Seattle's probably going to end up doing is they're going to try to bring up Chancellor and bump Gronk coming off the line. They're going to try to Gronk him. So what I expect New England to do on the offensive side is kind of line Gronk up in the backfield, kind of send him out as like a running back. That way he can have that free release. Mind you, he's going to be 3 or 4 yards off the line of scrimmage, but he'll still have that free release to where he won't be getting nicked and grabbed and everything like that. Because sometimes if you get in Gronk's grill, he doesn't really like it that much, especially if you're a big physical guy, kind of like Cam Chancellor's going to be.
Right. Yeah. Gronk has got to hit the middle of the field, and you got to be physical with Gronk if you don't want him getting that airspace. Gronkowski is someone that if you're going to have to win the game with him, especially you got Edelman that can cut the middle as well, too, if Gronk can open that up for you. Yeah. I agree with you.
Well, Gronk, if Gronk can open up the middle of the field, he's going to open up Blunt for the running game, which who the hell knows who they're going to use the running back, but I'm thinking it's going to be LeGarrette Blunt. Again, like I thought the last game, I'm thinking it's going to be him again this time. So they're going to have to do that. And the big thing is getting Shane Vereen out on the outside with some of them little screen passes like they're doing. Because we all know that Seattle's quick on defense, and they like to do the rush, and they like to get up the field in a hurry. So you want to take advantage of it by using some of these quick screens and by getting Gronk coming across the middle after all these guys clear out.
Gotcha. All right, well, due to injuries of Sherman and Thomas.
I watch way too much TV.
I see that. You've been having a lot of time to kind of catch up and watch the highlights, and I'm sure you've been watching Media Day. But
yeah.
You're like, yeah, just a little bit. So,
yeah.
Do the injuries of Richard Sherman and Earl Thomas concerns you?
No, because they look fine. They asked Richard Sherman how his shoulder. He goes, I'm ready. He goes, I'm ready. He goes, it's one game. They would have had to kill me to keep me out of this game. And Earl, they said his shoulder was fine.
Like I said in the last podcast, Richard Sherman just got so much respect playing with that. With the elbow.
Him and Aaron Rodgers during that game, I think I told you during that game, I was like, that, and even Earl Thomas, I'm like, this goes to show you got guys that pansy out when they hurt an elbow or they hurt a knee, and it's your last game of the season. It could be. You don't do that. I mean, you've seen it in these guys that this is how much it means to them.
Oh, I agree. It just shows so much mental fortitude, and I wonder with Richard Sherman as well, because he done show me he's tough now, so it's go time, and you know this is what this extra week helps you with these injuries and play a big game like this. So I think the Green Bay, when they played him, they should have had a chance to attack him, but now Sherman is all rest up, ready.
That was funny though. They didn't even attack him.
No.
After he got hurt.
No.
And then when they did attack him, he still made the tackle.
Exactly.
With one arm, and I'm like, yeah. But right now I'm not concerned about none of their injuries. They seem to be full board. They seem to be ready to go.
Gotcha.
And this should be what we wanted to see last year, with good offense going against good defense, and it's on both sides this time. Because New England's defense, I know that the numbers are skewing but during the playoffs and during their end run, they played really good defense.
Yeah.
So it should be fun to watch.
All right. Give me a percentage of the run pass that Louis should run against Seattle's defense, because as you see, they're pretty. I mean, I know you said
it's going to be somewhere in Tom Brady's going to throw the ball probably 35, 40 times. I just think that's going to be how they're going to do it. I just think they're going to be throwing the ball a lot.
Don't you see a lot of turnovers from Thomas if you throw it that many times?
Not necessarily, because what do they do? You don't see the ball go downfield a lot. They dink and dunk. They dink and dunk, dink and dunk, dink and dunk, dink and dunk. Then they hit the ball to Gronk, and Gronk will bust one for a big game, and that mostly is on him, not really on Tom. But I see them having to. They're going to try to throw the ball a lot, but because they throw to set up the run, where usually it's complete opposite. But New England throws to set up the run, unless you just have a piss poor run defense, like Indianapolis does.
Yeah,
and you run and you just keep running.
Yeah, I'm thinking that
it's going to be in the 68 to 70% range of throwing for New England, because that's what got them there.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna go with 60-40. I think they're at the pass, and definitely it's gonna be a lot of chunk yard. But Seattle's one of those teams that, if you look at their stats too, and they're scoring so low, and they got like all these yards with such a low scoring.
It's because they run.
Yeah,
they run and run and run. They grind you and grind you and grind you and grind you and grind you, and then all of a sudden you get deflated, and the damn disc burst.
This definitely is going to be a time possession game, in my opinion, and you're going to see a lot of offense that's going to, against this defense, that's going to go ahead and try to chip away, and then if they see a shot for a big play, then go for it. But this is one of those where they're going to set up initially and see if they can. Now, I like to see how